Look at this, we're back in the frickin' naughty north. It's echoey, it's nice and warm. Hey, get out of the bedroom, boys. We made it back up north. It's now Tuesday, and we're going to be frickin' smashing out some finishing lines. The plaster has already been in. It's put 2 coats on by the looks, actually. So 2 coats on. He'll be back in today to do a third, I would say, which is frickin' pretty cool. And then they'll be painting the following day. So we need to get all our architraves on. Can't do any skirtings because everything's getting redone on the floors, so we wait for that. But while I was finishing fucking around with that wall over there last week, hey, yeah, Fabian actually went through and he measured all the architraves needed for this room, and he's gone through and he's pre-cut them all. So I think that's pretty neat. I didn't even tell him to do that. He just did it by himself. So thumbs up, buddy. He's stoked. I was just like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I just went through and measured all the frickin' architraves around the windows and the doors, and now I'm cutting them all. Shit! Far out. That means he's frickin' been listening, at least for one little bit of it. Oh, okay. What's this kind of jib board?
Standard.
And what's that one?
Aqualine.
Hey, shit. Why we put that one there?
Because this is where the kitchen is going to be.
Yeah, that's right. And it's water resistant, I guess you could say. Wow.
What's that one? Baseline. Blue one.
Braceline.
Braceline.
And that one's for?
For bracing.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can use this stuff for bracing as well, but there's 2 different types of bracing inside. Jib standard and then brace line. So you can get a GS1 or a BL one.
Oh, okay.
So brace line 1 or jib standard 1.
That's why on the plan that has like GS1.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, bro. Yeah, he's getting it. Oh, what the heck is that one? Shit. That was Fabian. Look, he didn't do the screw properly. Nah. What we're going to do is we're going to go through and we'll start doing some architraves. It's pretty dark, so. Do you want to lay out the architraves around where they need to go? Yeah. And then I'll mark them for you. Yeah. And you can cut them and I'll start installing. Okay, sure. What do you reckon? Yeah. So, I think the plasterers used the same sort of joint compound that we used for our back blocking in here. And then for the joins, they have this fibre tape. And they literally just stick it over the join like that. And plaster it in there, and it just keeps the joint nice and strong and together, I guess. So you'll come into a situation sometimes like this where the plaster is actually sitting on top of the jam. So you just want to make sure you go through and scrape it off, especially in these corners. I'll also actually probably scrape a little bit of that back too because it's actually pushing it out. But I want to be able to get to my marks. We do a 3mm, 2 to 3mm depending on the radius of the jam itself. Sometimes these can be a bit bigger, but we're going for a 3mm this time. Makes it a little bit better actually as well. We can stay away from the edge of that jam. We want to make sure we've got a little quirk happening in and around this window. We don't want to be going flush with the top of the jam because it looks like shit. So scrape all the plaster off. Don't be a lazy cunt. And then that way all our architraves can sit hard against our jam and then also hard against. When you cut all these last week.
Then you're just going to be short.
Huh?
Is that what you mean?
Because it's not square.
Yeah.
All the cuts are going to be wrong. Because all these cuts that we did last week will be on that little bit of an angle, eh? Okay, so what's happening is all the cuts that Fabian did on Friday last week, the saw wasn't quite square when he was cutting the miters. So what's happening is it's opening the miter up when I'm sticking it on like this, and it's leaving a little gap at the front face. So I've got him to go through and recut them all nice and square. It's sort of hard to see on the camera, but it's a little, tiny little hairline gap in the front face of it. That's because the angles aren't quite right. Not the 45, but the actual flat cut itself. The little trick is sometimes if you need to, you can just take a slight little bit out of the back of the architrave like this, the knife. That will get filled up with glue anyway, but yeah. So I had to move my way out of the living room area, and I've made myself into the bedroom, one of the bedrooms at least. Now this is the only door in one of the bedrooms, so this is the only situation we sort of have like this, is where the skirting board runs into the architrave. Now unfortunately, for some reason, well not unfortunately, but we're going to have to trim the skirting board back for our architrave to run down to the floor. So we've got to get a little temporary piece just like this, put a little anscock. And then what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to set this up right there like that. I'm going to be able to use that line to renovate a nice straight mark. That's what we're talking about. Boom skis. So you can sort of see what I'm saying here. Now I'm hard back at the top because it's existing lining, and then I've got the slight gap right here, a difference between these two. So I just use my little bar. So the same thing sort of happened down here. I had to ply open this edge through here to get the front face flush and also sort of hide the gap between the vinyl and the skirting. See that? If I had it hard in, it's going to be a small gap there. So I'm actually just pulling it out, and then the painters can do some no more gaps along there. Really an ideal situation, but this is the only section that's sort of happening, where we've got to work in with the existing flooring and skirting boards. Alrighty, some tidy. We're making our way through now. We come to the cavity slider doors. We don't want to be pinning these damn closed, so we need to make sure that our... Oh, shoot. Just put freaking PVA all over my shoes. They're upside down, ready to go. We don't want to have pins long enough to pin the door closed, pretty much. 32. Come to another little corner where our architrave doesn't quite meet the internal corner that we need. So if you butt this in like this, put a little mark right here where that corner is, meets, and you flip it around, and then you line this corner up with that, put a little mark like that. Then you just go through, you can trim this, cut that off, and that should be perfect. Hey! Yeah, you need that.
Yeah, give me that.
See, I knew you had a small one, bro. Stop lying to the camera.
It's not about the size of the tool. It's about how well you use it.
So pretty much Fabian's gone through, oversized cut all these, lined it up with our pencil mark on the jam, marks it, then he goes cuts the other miter. But he has to label them such a way that I know how they go on. So this one here, we've got bottom, we've got top, we've got left and right, and that way we know exactly where they go. Are you pretty much done though, Fabian? Alright, we made it outside. We've finished doing architraves. Well, not quite. I stuffed up the order, so we need 4 more lengths, but that's okay. We're going to start putting cavity closure on, or vermin strip. What it does is it goes on the bottom side of our cavity system, and it stops any vermin from getting up, and it allows water to get out, and it also allows airflow through the cavity. Before I go frickin' just bashing this on in any place, I need to take into consideration a few things. The height of my cladding, the height of my cladding hangs 50 mil lower than my boundary joist, and I've also got my eco-ply that sits 30 mil below the bottom of that. So what I need to do is I'm pretty much going to set this up in such a way, because I want my cavity closure to sit below the eco-ply, but not further enough down that you can see it underneath the cladding. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split the difference, and I'm going to probably set it, let's just say 5 mil lower than the cladding. I mean not the cladding, the eco-ply, and that way we've still got at least 15 to 20 mil of cover of our cladding. So, alright, when it comes to these external corners, it's not super necessary, but there's a cool little trick that you can do. Just hold it up there, mark it, and then just miter from here like this. Just holds it together like that. Pretty good way of sort of reusing it, I guess. That's enough, bro. Jesus, you're not holding up the Taj Mahal.
Sure.
Yeah, the batten will get that. Shit, yeah, battens time. So this is the castellated batten, grooves through there. Front face has got small grooves. That doesn't really matter to us, but we're going to be ripping down. We rip these down to 18 mil because the new wool installation guide recommends that, because we've got a base channel that runs through there that caps off our new wool, which I discussed earlier. Now I'm waiting for some corner battens, so for the time being I'm just got a spare piece like this, and I just put it on, put a little mark, and then that way I can actually bang this in place. Bang it. Alright, so we're back on site this morning. Sheesh, look at this. Far out, the weather's packing in. Apparently it's meant to get pretty shitty, but we'll play it by feel, I guess. Right here doing it, hunting a fish hook. Nah. This is I just wanted to show you our base channel that's sort of sitting in along the bottom through here that caps off the bottom of our cladding system. And that's pretty much where it's going to sit, something like that. So that's why we're ripping down these battens, is because we've got this 2 mil, well, it's just under 2 mil of extrusion that sits there. And then you can see there's a gap in this corner that's going to allow for our corner flashing system to meet in between that. But I'm a little bit confused because on the diagrams it doesn't show us having to rip down the external corner flashings, corner battens, these ones. So I'm a little confused. I might double, triple check. But yeah, a little bit random to be honest. I'll figure it out though. I think for now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to buzz 100 mil up off the bottom and 100 mil off the top, and hopefully that's going to be enough for the meantime, and if we really need to we can buzz the whole length, but if I get the tops and bottoms for now, that'd be good. And then I'm just going to wait to hear back from the new wall installer. There's a special builder that comes out and sort of shows you exactly how to install everything, so I'm just going to wait to hear back from him. And if we have to, I'll just fucking get the planer on it. That way we can keep moving, baby.
Oh, baby. Time, I wasn't really getting any younger.
Hey, so what we've got to do, now that we've got our corner battens on, cavity closer, and our base cavity on, we got to go through and we're going to mark out exactly where all our freaking cavity battens are meant to go, right?
Yep, boy.
So what we've done is we've calculated exactly where the bottom plate is, and then we've gone up 600 centers all the way up, and then we've come 200 mil down from the bottom plate to get all our nog lines, and then we're going to use the story stick to go through, and we're going to mark exactly against every window like this, and between boxes like that, and all the external corners, we can go through and do some chalkies, and then we're ready to rock and roll to start whacking battens on, eh? I actually had the dumpy out yesterday, and dumpy leveled all the way around the perimeter for our cavity closer, making sure that we're absolutely freaking bang on the money, because that's sort of going to be a guide to set up the bottom of our, cladding as well. Because we're using because it's an old home, I'm just double, triple checking everything, making sure that we've got all the right bits and pieces in place. Yep. Beautiful. So the plan of attack pretty much is we're going to go through and hit everything we can on our feet, and then we're going to set the scaffold up and work our way up. So we can get the first 3 battens pretty easily. Now I'm not sure exactly how we do it. We're just going to work through, and we're just going to cut where we are. We're not going to go through and measure them all. It's just going to be easier like this. So what I'll do, Fabian, bro, is I'll start whacking some on the bottom and the middle, and when I get to a joint like this, I'll get you to cut it.
Maybe now I don't need them no more. Don't have to put up a show like before. Now your man is all I wanna be. Ooh, the way you burn now, baby. Ooh, the way you burns. I never knew we could feel this way.
Accidentally put the batten on the wrong side of the line down here, just on this one little row. Now a good little trick is to just punch the nails through. That way you sort of save, shit. You can actually save the batten, reuse it, and then the nail is actually filling in the hole that's going to be left behind when you pull the nail out. So good little trick there. What? Well, you're the one that's been going through nailing all the battens off. Yeah.
The adventures of Fabian. you're soaking.
And we're also using the standard cavity batten, not the castellated, up the top. I've been pulled up in the past for using the castellated stuff up here, and I can't remember the exact reason why. It was something to do with the creepy crawlies and the vermins actually being able to get up through the crack and through the feet. And
Oh,
all the way
true.
up and in. Something like that. So I've got to use a solid batten for that.
Because how the castellator got this little...
Yeah, so so any little ants or something can...
Get up in there. Hey.
What?
Strike on face.
And we're also just a little check out around the feet jointer. Shit, is that your dirty fingerprints?
I don't know.
Nah. To keep the cavity batten nice and tight on there. Oh. Why am I tacking this batten on over the head flashing? It's time!
It is time.
Fucking hell. Alright, so I'm tacking the batten over the head flashing because I've fucked up all the head flashings. Not even a word of a lie. All the head flashings here are too short. I've done the standard 20mm past the joinery, thinking that was going to be enough because of our cladding system, but it's not. We've got an extrusion that wraps around the outside of the window that encapsulates the ends of the boards, and that is actually 40mm past the edge of the window. So if you have a look here, our extrusion is going to be 40mm past all the way around, and our head flashing wants to sit 40mm past the flashing as well, so it sort of keeps it in line. Now I could just leave these as they are, but it will look fucking shit. So I've ordered the new head flashings, and we're going to have to pull them off and clean them all out, clean all the silicone off them, redo them all. And that was just my bad. That is just literally nothing I can do about that except take the blame because I didn't look into the brochure. I didn't read the fine print, let's just say. So that is what it is. All the head flashings would have been too short anyway because they were cut 100mm longer, and we need them to be cut at least 120mm longer. So yeah, because we've got our 20mm pickup.
Can we still use these for the smaller ones?
Yeah, and I fucked that up too. I ordered brand new head flashings for everything. An extra length as well, and then I realised, oh, I could just use this one here. Shut your dumb ass up! That's fucking $1,500 fuck up. That's worse than Fabian's. All three of them together.
This whole job, this guy's been over ordering and under ordering. Nothing has been perfect yet. That's fuck.
I was looking for them all my life. And tricks, got no use for them anymore.
Right, so when we're nailing these battens off, when I'm actually nailing these battens off, I'm not just nailing them out willy-nilly. I'm actually nailing them off at 300 centers because we're going to structurally fix these battens on. That way the cladding... Fuck's sake. Alright, so when I'm nailing these off, I'm not nailing them off willy-nilly. There's a few things I'm taking into... Alright, so I'm not just nailing these things off willy-nilly. I'm nailing them specifically in certain areas, so framing behind that. Stuff you, Mikey, last one. Alright, so I'm not just nailing these off willy-nilly. I'm nailing them off at 300 centers through the thick part of the cavity batten, not through the castellated part. That could create water egress issues in the future. Not that there's going to be any water going through there anyway, but yeah, I'm nailing off at 300 centers to structurally fix the batten to the framing behind there, and then that way the cladding can just get fixed to this batten. Otherwise, another scenario is you have to fix the cladding through this batten and then into the 35mm into the framing behind the eco-ply barrier. So it just makes it a little bit easier for us and we don't have to use such large fixings. Shit! Oh well, alright, shall we wrap the video up here? Hey? Well, I think so. Do a little. Oi. Woo-wee. We got most of the battens on today. If we got paid by the linear meter, we'd be frickin' millionaires. Holy heck, we frickin' pumped it. But yeah, I'm gonna cut the video here and we'll start again tomorrow. We've got a bunch of bits and pieces that we're gonna be finishing off and tidying up and making sure that we look good, and so does the work, eh? Make sure you like, subscribe, do all the good things, leave a comment down below, and we'll catch you on the next one. Woo!
It burns.